Welcome back, everyone, to the Castlevania Ravenloft RPG. The last time we saw our heroes, Jack Motley was left behind as collateral, as Strahd put aside all pretense and made it very clear that he's mourning the loss of his nightmare, that he is disappointed that these visitors to his land, who obviously oppose him, haven't carried out his will as they wish, or as he wishes them to, and is holding Jack basically as hostage until they find Lisa. He interrogated both Elias and Alexandra mentally and magically to find out more about what they know, who's been helping them. Through that, he discovered that Elias at least believes that another vampire has entered this land into Strahd's domain, and Strahd may be stitching things together that his power may be challenged, or at least Lisa taken away from him. So, in an effort to bend the players more to his will, he has tasked them with the threat of their friend's life at stake here, to find the location of Lisa and slay this supposed how do you say it? Usurper, whatever.
Sure.
I don't know
Yeah.
the meme properly. But anyways, on the way out of the castle, Strahd allowed his or Elias's shadow that was previously detached from him to assist them in Jack's absence to completing their task. However, this shadow was unable to stop the 4 dragons in the entryway to Castle Ravenloft, which animated, dropped down, and began burning and tearing at everybody. The shadow made a last effort to jump in between the flames of 2 of these dragons, which were about to end Elias's life. He was thankfully pulled out by Alexandra at the last moment. He's still unconscious as they made their way to their cart across the across the drawbridge to their cart, and through the night, evading additional shadows that were in pursuit of them, past the crossroads, past the gallows where we saw the image of Jesus hung, and back to the camp of the Vistani. Here in the camp of the Vistani, you find, now that night is falling, their festivities have started to be a little more jovial in the night. Drinking of wine has begun. The campfire is now lit. However, the first person that they recognize is Borelli, the little troublesome Vistana that had stolen a trap because the prices were too high for the trap from the shopkeeper in the village of Barovia. And Borelli greets you, but he has a look of pained guilt on his face as you approach in your wagon. Alexandra and Mr. Jeeves, you can take actions. Elias, what you see is waves of fire burning over your flesh as red dragons bite into the lower parts of your armor that are less armored. The exposed parts of your legs are being chewed away by these vile dragon creatures.
So Elias is having a nightmare, basically.
Yes.
Okay. Well, he can't react. He's just in shock and in pain and thinks he's in hell, basically. So, screaming, in pain, not having a good time.
Nah, I missed a lot last week. Okay.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
do record these things if you ever need to catch up.
Yeah, I know I should. Okay, so we need to find some help for Elias somehow.
Oh yeah, Mark. I barely passed my death save with an 11, even after being pulled out of the fire.
Things got pretty intense.
Yeah.
Right, so The sun has set. What's everybody doing?
Not much.
Yeah, not much.
Alex, you with us?
Yep.
Mr. Jeeves, you said that some medical attention would be good for Elias.
Yeah, for Elias.
Borelli
Trying to
approaches you and says, it's been a long time since we've met. Many things have changed.
Many
Yes.
things have, yes. Our friend needs some help. As you can see, he's not faring well right now.
You roll a sense motive check. Insight, yeah, same thing. You can tell that he wants to help, but the look on his face doesn't. He's doubtful if he can. In fact, he looks behind you or himself, and you see Yoshka approaching. Yoshka does not look happy. And before Yoshka is in earshot, Borelli says, Strahd is limiting how much we can help you here. I'll do what I can. I owe you much. And then Yoshka approaches and he says, you people are not welcome here.
Apparently.
Is there a particular reason why?
You have angered the master of this land. We do not wish to incur his wrath. His generosity here for allowing us to pass, come and go into these lands without any penalty.
We're under Strahd's employment for the time being. We would appreciate whatever help you could offer.
We are strictly forbidden from helping you.
So how are we supposed to help Strahd if you don't help us?
You can help yourself.
I'm sure Strahd would appreciate it if you helped us.
Borelli just jogs off, and Yoshka looks at him as if he wasn't expecting that. And he says, listen here. You will bring no more trouble to our lands. I have spoke with the other Vistani, and they told me what gypsy means. They have been to your lands before. We know what you think of us.
That's what other people think of you, not what we think of you.
That is what this woman here had called us before.
And not once did I ever mention it in a derogatory term.
I'm told this term is derogatory.
It's simply the name of a people. It's not meant in a derogatory way.
Why do you wish to be where you're not welcome? And then you see Madame Eva's tent. The flaps open, and out comes Stacello. Stacello begins walking towards you all, and Borelli is right behind him. Stacello says to Yoshka, I've told you before, do not mess with my friends. You will not make any trouble here. You will have to go through me. I've spoke with Madame Eva. They are welcome here to rest. Yoshka spits on the ground and stomps off.
Alex turns and glances up at Stacello. Thank you. We truly don't mean any trouble. And we definitely don't mean to burden you. But we have nowhere else to turn for the moment.
Yes, well, you've been very helpful to us in the past. I spoke with Madame Eva. She is not used to helping people, but you're at least welcome to stay here in the camp for this night.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Just watch your backs while you're here. Sleep with one eye open. If there's anything I can do, let me know.
Would you sit with us, please? We can take turns sleeping.
He looks and sees in the cart that Elias is unconscious and looks on the brink of death. Oh, dear God. Good. Just give me one moment. And he runs off and fetches another Vistana. This girl looks very similar to Dorina, which you saw had the baby. You think that she might even be maybe a relative. But it's not the same woman. But she approaches Elias and begins to wrap his wounds and prop him up, start making like first aid attempts. So she's going to attempt to bring you to consciousness and rolls excellently.
Nice.
Elias, just after a few minutes, you begin to open your eyes, and the mental anguish that you're in your mind is blending with reality.
So Elias awakens, and he's drenched in sweat, and he's looking between the girl and his friends and everyone around him, and he still sees the dragons around him in the camp, and he still thinks he's on fire, and he's still in a lot of pain. And as all this is happening, he's also telling himself that he thought he had conquered this fear, that he was getting better about it. But now it's very real to him, and it's consuming everything he sees. And he's just kind of shaking and talking incoherently and just not communicating right now.
Stocello looks at the woman and says, "Thank you, Ileana. You may
Yes,
leave
thank
us."
you.
And Ileana bows and smiles and then curtsies and walks away.
Elias, it's all right. We're here. There are no dragons anymore.
Where is here? Where are we?
We're at the Vistana camp. By Sarah Pool, don't you remember?
It does look familiar, Alex. Do I have my legs?
When you look down, the armor of your legs is ripped apart. It's almost unfunctional.
Alex, are my legs there?
They're still attached. You're a little beaten up, you're a little bit chewed on, but they're still attached, I promise you.
What else happened when we left? I see Jack is still gone. Is Jeeves all right?
Jeeves is right here with us.
Okay. All right.
That
Okay.
odd shadow that Strahd attached to you saved us all.
Definitely loyal to Strahd, I suppose.
Elias,
I'll be
most of your hair is gone and parts of your skin is bubbling and blistering with burns. You think that if you don't get any holy healing power to fix some of this stuff, it's going to leave permanent scarring.
Alex, I don't know who is here that could help me, but I may need some something from the priest in the village of Barovia, at least, that would have some kind of healing power. I'm not sure anyone here has that ability.
I don't think they do either.
You kind of do.
Didn't he use up all of his...
I don't know, but...
Yeah, I guess. Well, it depends on how able Elias is to do it to himself.
You're conscious, you can cast spells if you have them.
Yes, he does have them.
Right.
But so you're saying like he'll have permanent like lasting damage unless
you need to heal your wounds pretty quick. Or,
okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I thought you meant like he had to go somewhere else.
No. I just mean that you need to use your holy gifts to heal yourself, or if you don't do that soon enough, some of these scars will be permanent.
All right. So Elias, this comes to his mind. He realizes it. At first, he doesn't think of himself as a cleric. He thinks he's just dying and he needs help. But eventually, it washes over his mind that he can do this, and he's trying to concentrate. And he grasps his holy symbol, and it slips a few times as he tries to grab it while he's shaking. But he starts to pray and starts to concentrate, and his wounds start to gradually heal up as like a weaker form of his normal magic begins to slowly work.
As you do, your vision becomes clearer, and you see that your friends have also sustained heavy injuries that also look mostly fire-based. So
Right.
you guys are kind of jacked the hell up right now.
Nothing Alex hasn't dealt with before.
Alex, you're right, but you're feeling pretty damn
Yeah, I know.
terrible.
Sheesh, am I not allowed to be a smartass?
Sure, I just want you to know that most of your body's burned right now.
Yeah, I'm aware. I can see my wound points.
Okay. Hey, at least your legs are still attached.
And after Elias takes care of himself a little bit, he turns to his friends and notices they're not in good shape either and starts to heal them as well.
Thank you, Elias. I feel much better already.
All right.
Mr. Jeeves, you notice that some of the carts that you had previously pilfered through silently and undetected are different now. Looks like some of these have been replaced with new carts. Then you notice there's not a lot of people here that you recognize. It looks like there's been a good turnover of these travelers.
You say that like it's an invitation for him to try again.
It's like,
No, I'm just saying that he's very familiar with these vehicles, so he knows they're new. Sure, that might mean all new loot or lack thereof, but
I don't think we need to stir up any more trouble right now. Maybe once I'm fully recovered.
you guys can also take a short rest if you need more healing. Or, well, you've taken a long rest. That's what got us into this late part of the day. So you'll have to wait a bit more to take a long rest. You think around the morning time, you could probably spend another 8 hours.
Right. Elias has 2 spells left, so he could do a little more, but just in case we get in a fight, I think I'll save that. Well, actually, I got some of these too. Okay, it's a little better.
Your assistance is greatly appreciated, Elias. Thank you. I do feel much better.
As do I, my good woman. As do I. I'm afraid I'll never completely recover from what just happened to me, but at least we survived.
I'm sure you'll manage just fine with time, my friend.
Where's the little clockwork man?
He's in the back of the cart with you.
Oh.
Probably staring creepily at him.
Oh, and how do you fare, little one?
Pidwick, too, just tilts his head and then he stands up and let's see. I think he's trying to cheer you up because he starts doing a little dance.
Elias will clap and wince a little bit as he kind of touches one of his wounds. Keeps clapping anyway.
Very good. The more you clap, the faster he dances until it just seems appropriate to stop, and then he ceases his dancing.
We need to get you to our good friend. Linsky and Polanski.
He just tilts his head.
Yes, he's the one that was looking for you. I think he'll be a great friend for you.
So Stacello says, well, my friends, you look lots better now than when you first arrived. What's got you in such a miserable state?
Well, Strahd had bid us leave of his castle, but then his dragons decided to attack us anyway.
Oh boy. Well, come down and meet me by the fire. We will share a drink and you can tell me all about it.
Fire? No, that's okay. I'll stay here.
I was gonna say, yeah. Elias might want to stay as far away from that right now as possible.
I don't drink anyway, so that's fine.
Huh. He strokes his face and he says, I see. How about we go down by the river instead?
That sounds great. I like water.
All right. He takes you down to the same spot where, Elias, you remember a very beat up and severely punished and drunk Borelli had spoken to you about God once. This is also near the spot where Alexandra had confronted Jeeves long ago.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah.
Perhaps we should also speak with Madame Ava before we leave.
Yes, well, probably the sooner the better. The quicker that you and your friends can be on the way, the less the chance of anything happening.
True enough. It sounds like we're not entirely safe here. What I understand, there's been kind of tightening down from Strahd.
Well, I don't think Yoshka liked you very much even when you first came here, but Bono, Borelli, and I, we're all still here, and we know you're good people.
Thank you. We greatly appreciate it. I don't know if I would be alive right now if not for your help.
Well, I'm sure Borelli would not be, so thank you. He would have at least had a brand burned into his neck.
Has he behaved reasonably well since then?
Borelli, behave. Are we speaking about the same man?
For him, at least, I suppose.
Yeah, well, his fingers aren't sticky. That's all that really matters. He learned his lesson.
Well, that is a definite improvement then. And, of course, Bildraft, the village of Brevia, is not without his own sins as well. But that's neither here nor there.
Perhaps whatever lesson you imparted on him, you could impart on our sticky-fingered friend here. She eyes Jeeves.
Wait,
I
what?
think he's beyond help.
I haven't had sticky fingers in a long time.
Hmm. Well, I mean, we beat it out of Borelli pretty quickly if you want us to have a row here with your butler friend.
I'll leave that up to the Alex.
Nah, I'm just gonna narrow my eyes.
I think he could do without a beating for now.
Really? That's a shock to hear.
Ooh, Mr. Jeeves just basically vanished.
I have to admit, his ways have been quite useful for us.
Damn.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Alex doesn't even realize that Mr. Jeeves is no longer present.
Alex is unfazed by his disappearance right now.
Yeah, you're completely unaware.
No, I'm not gonna. I'm saying I'm just take her weapons away from her temporarily. But no, I'm good. I'm just gonna disappear.
All right. Well, if you want some sleight of hand pickpocket stuff, we can see what happens. It wouldn't be the first time. Bum,
It wouldn't
bum,
be the first
bum.
time.
Anyways,
She
Stacello
has so
says,
many weapons.
Here, sit down with me. And he sits down by the bank of the river, the stream slowly bubbling in front of you. Night fully falls. Sunset's completely happened now, and you can see the stars in the sky. No, you can't. It's always cloudy in Barovia. No one has seen stars in the sky in a long time here. But that's as lovely as the evening can get in this place. It's currently not raining like it was up on the cliff where Castle Ravenloft was. And the sounds of merriment are happening not too far away, next to the bonfire, in the center of camp.
Elias tries to calm himself and clear his mind, listening to the ebb and flow of the water on the bank and just thinking about how he can continue to improve himself and defeat his fear, and that he has made progress in doing that and becoming a better man.
Stachello looks at everybody that he can see and says, "So you went to Castle Ravenloft and you survived. Usually it is only a Vistani that can do such." In fact, it wasn't too long after our last meeting that Yoska went to speak with Strahd about you directly.
Oh, really?
Yes.
I don't suppose you're privy to anything that was said.
Only that we were not to provide assistance to you.
Then you do this at great risk, sir, and we greatly appreciated him. I'm sorry to lay this on you.
Well, Borelli said that you said you were under the employment of Strahd, so I was
We
able
are, in
to
fact.
speak with Madame Eva about letting you stay here for the night. It is always safe in Vistani camps in this land. Unless, of course, the Vistani themselves have some reason not to trust you.
Of course.
Might we speak with Madame Eva before it grows too late? I'd hate to keep anybody up.
And if this doesn't work out, we could always make the rest of the way to the village, because it's not all too far.
If you would like to speak with Madame Eva, I can speak with her and see if she will allow it. Shall I go ask?
Certainly.
Before I do, I wish to know, what is it that you are employed by Strahd to do?
Shall I say, or you? Alex?
He wants us to find the one that challenges his power here in this land.
Challenge Strahd's powers? That simply cannot be done.
And yet someone has.
This is just Strahd's way of playing with everyone here, like a game.
He does definitely toy with us and play with us on every opportunity he can and derive some enjoyment from it, perhaps from just being bored from being here so long, but we can basically confirm that someone seems to be on Strahd's level here that has been pulling some strings.
Well, I don't know what strings can be pulled, but Strahd is immortal. He's undefeatable.
He has been weakened, however, and can be weakened further if we continue this path we were on, but that seems to be not in our best interest right now.
Well, it seems to be not in my best interest to know any more. It might be seen blasphemous if I speak to you this way and other people were to hear. And he looks around nervously. He says, I'll talk to Madame Eva.
Yes.
And,
well, you deserve honesty, my friend, so think nothing of it.
And he gives you a nod, and then he slowly walks to Madame Eva's tent. Waits a moment after calling to her and is invited in. You hear her and him in the distance. You can't make out what they say, But it's not too long before he comes back out and says, "Yes, you may all have your fortune read one more time."
Okay.
Excellent.
So, follow me, and he brings you to the tent. All right. Once inside, you see once again Madame Eva. Pull up that image. As you enter, she smiles, and over her withered lips, you hear, welcome again. It's so good to have visitors. Please,
Yes.
come near.
Thank you, Madam Eva. We can confirm that your fortunes that you read to us all came quite true, and we thank you for your wisdom.
So one in the faith of God understands that there is power that may be used by someone who is not his disciple?
I've seen all manner of powers here in this land that I did not think could exist, and certainly definitely have power in this land. So, yes, I must say, you are correct.
You are wise to listen to fortunes such as these. Perhaps if you listen again, it will help you. Alexandra of the Belmonts. You wish to have your fortune told this night?
She cringes as her last name is said out loud, but she nods and approaches the table.
I can sense that you are very different from the last time we met.
This journey seemed to have taken quite a toll on me, Madame Eva.
And yet you still have not fulfilled all that I had divined for you.
I mean no disrespect, but it's not for lack of trying.
Let us see if your cards have changed. And she... Oh, guess I need to share this image, huh? Yeah. So, she begins dealing cards. And then she flips over the first card. And she says, "Ah, yes, Alexandra, the swashbuckler. This card represents you." And then she reveals the second card. Ah, the guild member. I see. This speaks of your clan. And then she reveals another card. Reveals another card. Come on, do it. Why is it not doing it? There we go.
Priest.
Alas.
The priest. I see that you will still face a decision to fulfill the oath of your kinsmen or the will of God. Do you have any questions specifically?
Specifically, yes. If you know where I can find Lisa, or have any clue as to where to start looking. I feel like we've been in this land for ages and overturned every block so far.
Alright, well, let me see what the cards may say. And she picks up the cards that were in front of you and begins shuffling. And then she lays out cards in a slightly different pattern. And she reveals the first card. Aha, the Innocent. I see the Wizard. And what else do the cards have in store for you? The Hooded One. And she looks into the crystal ball in her lap. Her eyes slightly close. She says, Lisa is with a powerful wizard in a prison that holds back immense evil that was once guarded by the Silver Dragon. Cold winds blow and few feet travel to the heights you seek.
Is she safe? Please, can you at least answer that?
I've spoken all that the cards wish to reveal to you. I hope that you can glean wisdom from this. And she begins
Thank
to
you,
pick
Madam
them up.
Eva.
Would anyone else like to have their fortune read?
Sure.
Mr. Jeeves. Let's see what the cards hold for you. Please sit down. And you take Alexandra's place at the small round wooden table. It has a nice quilted cloth over it. And below your feet, it looks like this temporary tent has a wooden floor that looks portable. Like you could disassemble it and take it with you. She begins shuffling the cards and dealing them in front of you. And she begins revealing them, one at a time. The Rogue. And the Tempter. And the final card that has been chosen by fate for you is the Tax Collector.
Okay.
Let me see. I can divine that a young man that you have met before will succumb to temptation unless you intervene in the house of the tax collector. And then she looks into her crystal ball. She says, "You've not yet reaped the full fortune that I had spoke with you last time about."
No, we we still need to complete that last one.
She rubs her hand over the crystal ball and seems to be concentrating, and she says, "One level below the ground floor in the castle, there is a room where the furniture is all bone. There I see a dragon skull." She reaches out and begins collecting her cards. I hope that this can assist you somehow.
I got it. Jeeves, you have to save the fat kid from doing something stupid.
That's the first person I've that up to. Nope.
All right, that sounds quite useful to us already, Madam Eva, and I'll take my turn now.
All right, Mr. Jeeves gets up and you take his place. One second. I ran out of cards.
I keep thinking this thing is an apple pie. It kind of looks like one.
An apple pie? Making me hungry. All right, she shuffles her cards really good, and Elias takes a seat.
Or cherry pop.
A cherry pie? You mean the tablecloth pattern?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh. I made that image all myself. The lighting, everything.
How?
It's a real Frankenstein. I'm just good with Photoshop.
Okay.
All right, Elias. She lays out a spread for you, and she begins revealing cards. The Paladin. Very fitting.
I like that sword.
The Charlatan. Interesting. And the Broken One. Let me see. What is fate trying to say? Elias, I divine that the one who bathes in blood hides behind a porcelain mask. Her eyes are fixed upon a young woman. The Broken One. Does this mean anything to you?
I know of who you speak. The red-haired woman behind the mask. I have seen her, but I'm not sure who the Broken One would be.
Lady Watcher's daughter.
Yes, that could be Alex.
She may be in danger.
Yes, and Carmilla has been seen around Valaki in the swamp south of there, so it's very possible. Maybe it's time we dealt with her. She could at least lead us to this other vampire, I would think, because I believe they're working together.
One could hope, if you can tolerate her presence long enough for her to lead us there.
Well,
Well, my guests, I hope that the fates have divined something useful to you. But it's time that our meeting come to a close. If you will mind, I must get my beauty sleep. I wish you
Thank
the
you,
best.
Madam Ava.
All the luck that you can have.
thank you. Is there anything we could do for you?
Oh no, there's not many things that I need. A new deck of cards, a nice shiny crystal. These things are what interest me most.
As you wish. Thank you again.
We shall keep an eye out on our travels.
All right, then you exit the tent. Things don't seem quite as dire as your last reading, but back into the dark night you go. So what's your next move? You all can close those images now.
Well,
Are we to spend some time resting here at the camp, or should we be on our way? I'd hate to cause any trouble around here.
Yes, and trouble might find us. It sounds like some of the Vistanas may be unwelcoming. It's hard to say. We're in decent enough shape to keep traveling, but where would you have us go? To the village of Barovia or to Valaki?
At this point, my concerns would point us towards Valaki.
Hmm.
We have to introduce our little friend here to the toy maker. And double check on Lady Watcher's daughter.
Yes, I believe. What was her name, Mike? The lady was Fiona, right?
Stella, is that the daughter you're talking about?
Yeah, Stella. Okay. Yes, that sounds wise, Alex. What do you think, Jeeves?
I'm easy. Let's go.
It is nighttime.
Let's rest.
Yeah, it's pretty dark. We can't do long rest for a while, though. We'll have to...
Yeah, I mean, you guys can sleep, but it won't count as a long rest until a good 8 hours past your last long rest.
We could do shorts if we want.
As many as you have temporary hit dice for, or not temporary, but hit dice to roll to regain, yeah.
Alright, let's do that then. Patch ourselves up as best we can.
So short rest and then go to Velaki?
Indeed.
Alright, let me apply a short rest to the party. There you go. And are you gonna wait until sunrise or what?
How far away is that, time-wise?
Let me check. Let's see. Alright, miles-wise, it would be 6 plus 1.5, that's 7.5, plus 4.5, that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 hours of, 12 miles. And you can go at normal speed 3 miles an hour. So 4 hours normal speed. If you're traveling fast, you can go 4 miles an hour.
Oh, I meant how much time before morning, like where we're at right now.
Well, the sun had set and it just recently got dark, so you've got the whole night ahead of you.
Oh, I thought it was already dark when we were at Strahd's house.
Yeah, it was getting dark then. It's really dark now, but it didn't take you very long to travel from Strahd's to here. It was only about 9 miles. 9 miles to get to where you're at now.
Well, if the sun is just starting to set, we could get to Velaki and spend the rest of the night there.
The sun's definitely set at this point. If you could see stars, they would have been out.
Hmm.
I'm going to say it's around, let's see, it's starting getting dark. We'll say probably around 6 or 7. And to travel the 6, 7, 8, 9 miles, it would have been 3 hours. So I'm going to say around 10 or 11 o'clock at night right now.
Hmm. Well, I'm fine with sticking with the plan of short rest to get some hit dice and then go to Velaki.
Actually, you guys arrived pretty quickly because you were galloping with your horse and carriage. So that actually goes 8 miles an hour. So basically an hour away from
yeah, I remember we had a discussion about that earlier, where I didn't think 3 was fast enough for the horse. So that sounds good.
Yeah, normally the horse isn't, the horse and cart, it's not used to pulling a full party, but you're down Jack, and Pidwick doesn't weigh very much.
Right. Okay. So,
it's
still in
made
agreement?
for hauling gear more than it is a full party of people.
What do you think, Alex? So go ahead and rest and then go?
I already rolled my hit dice.
Oh. Okay.
Well,
I'll do
resting, it's only an hour, so I'm going to say instead of 10 or 11, it's more like, we'll say 9 o'clock.
Jeeves, you should roll some hit dice, man.
I'm pretty good. About 10. Well, I guess one hurt. Yeah, there we go.
Nice.
All right. Okay, Mike, you can go ahead and move us.
All right, so you guys are going to travel to Valaki. You'll get there a bit late, but you're traveling as fast as you can on your cart.
Oh, and we thanked the Vistani while we were there, the ones that helped us.
Sure.
Actually, yeah, can Alex leave them some gold?
Yeah, they'd probably appreciate that.
Alright, she's gonna leave a 5 gold tip for Madame Ava, and 5 gold for Borelli and Stacello each, and 5 gold for Yoshka, just to try to butter them up.
So that's, what, 5, 10, 15,
20.
20. 20 gold. You can just remove that from your sheet. Stacello says, you have to give this to Borelli yourself. I'll be right back with him. And he goes and grabs Borelli, who's apparently off dancing with some woman, and brings him over and is like, my friend, I have good news for you, for our friends. Thank you for welcoming them back to the camp. And then Alexandra, you present your 5 gold, and he looks like he just won the lottery. Thank you. I can even afford the
assistance.
I can afford the traps now back in the village of Barovia if I wasn't banned from there.
Yes, I'd suggest you send someone in your place, someone that you can trust with your money.
I don't think I'll be trapping my food. Not with this. Not anytime soon. And you see Stacello roll his eyes, and he clasps you on the shoulder, and he says, thank you, my friends. I will always make sure that you're welcome whenever I can.
We appreciate your assistance. You've been a great help to us.
All I ask is, should you ever become vampires, please do not suck my blood.
I have no intention of such, but you have a deal.
Very good, then. I will make sure Yoshka gets his gold, and I'll make sure it distracts him long enough for him not to pursue you.
Also, Elias will find the woman that healed him and tended to his wounds.
Oh, yeah, Ileana. She looks happy to see you and grateful for your appreciation, but she seems slightly awkward due to how you woke up.
Yes, Elias will approach her cautiously and slowly, make sure that she sees him in full view before he approaches, so she's not as scared.
Like a timid deer.
Yeah, right. And he thanks her earnestly. He says, as a healer myself, I thank you so much for what you did for me, and I'd like to give you a token of my appreciation.
She looks around at some of the other Vistani guys eyeing her, and you can tell that your appreciation and coming close to her is just making her feel uncomfortable, and the guys around her might be a little jealous.
Well, and Elias senses the atmosphere, and he hands her a scroll, and he even says, well, I suggest this could be for the good of you all. You may all enjoy this. And he gives her the Scroll of Heroes Feast.
Oh, well, why, thank you, sir. This is something that I will try to learn to read.
I'm sure someone here could read it for you, but it is definitely a spell of great merriment and feasting. I'm sure you all would enjoy it.
And she just is smiling and nodding her head as she takes it, and then you kind of remember that to cast a scroll, you have to have some kind of divine connection to God to use this magic.
Oh, this one really? Oh no!
All of your holy spells are like that, and they don't look like the most literate bunch either. They don't spend all their days in schools.
At worst, they could sell it for a hefty fee.
Yeah, but she's happy to get it.
I think this is a wizard spell, man.
Oh, is it? It's same thing. They would have to have some mastery of magic. Can't just... Well, some rogues can, I think, but...
Yeah, I mean, I figured they have somebody there that can use magic. Maybe.
You haven't really found any Barovians or any Vistani aside from Esmeralda that can use magic.
Well, you know what? I don't
And
even know.
you know, Madame Eva, she uses her skill.
It says it's a level 6 conjuration. Like, could Elias even do that?
Honestly, I'd have to look into the rules to see if clerics can use scrolls from other classes. It might be a spellcraft check or something like that in this edition. But that's a great thing to look into after we're done playing tonight.
Okay, well, anyway, I don't think Elias is going to use it, so he'll give it to them.
All right. They accept your scroll of Heroes Feasts, and yeah, they'll probably sell that. That'd bring some good money to their hands. But it's more the gesture that she appreciates. And you can see the Vistani men aren't exactly comfortable with an outsider impressing a woman such as you have with Ileana here.
Well,
She blushes a bit as she takes it.
well, I don't expect we'll be back anytime soon, but we bid you all farewell.
Yes, well, pleasant nights to you. says
Stacello,
one of the men.
if you could, please, apologize to Yoshka on my behalf. I meant no disrespect the first time we spoke.
You would do well to not trust Yoshka as far as you can throw him. He deserves no gold and no apology. I will do my best to make sure he doesn't pose a problem to you. You put your faith in people too much, I believe.
Perhaps so, nonetheless. Shall we be off, gentlemen?
Yes, I believe so.
Mm-hmm.
All right, leaving in much better spirits and conditions than you arrived, you take your cart and begin going down the road. It seems like the shadows that were in pursuit of you earlier have not reared their heads. And let me see if anything else poses a threat as you go upon your journey. I like the nighttime rule encounters. Those are different.
Mm-hmm.
Roll spot checks. Perception checks.
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Jeeves easily can point out to everyone, as can Alexandra, that the graveyard where you saw the image of Mr. Jeeves hung, his eyes bulging out of his skull, there's an old grave there that you see. This one looks a little different from the rest, and you're not sure that you had noticed it before.
Is there a duck with a silk bag on top of it?
No,
I was going to ask.
there's not, but you guys are moving pretty quick on the horse. You'll have to break your pace if you want a better look at it.
Sure.
What are you guys looking at?
That grave over there, Alexander points. It looks different from the last time we passed by.
Yeah, as you
Are
slow
you
your
sure?
horse, you see that it appears as an elongated earthen mound.
Well, maybe you're just gravely mistaken.
Jeeves, what say you?
Let's go check it out.
That's what I thought.
Oh, okay. You stop the horse and get out of the cart. Roll a perception check, everyone. Yes, Mr. Jeeves and Elias, you see, this looks like an older grave, even though the mound of dirt still looks like it's pretty fresh. But the gravestone here is so old and worn that you can't even tell what name used to be here.
Hmm. What do you think, Elias?
Looks like a grave. The dirt seems to be fresher than the stone, but otherwise, I don't know what it means unless someone was recently buried.
We're using the grave.
Lucky concurs. Let's be on our way.
Is this not where we saw the Jeeves-looking corpse hanging earlier?
Yeah.
By the gallows, yes.
I'm afraid what we'll find if we look any further might be our doppelganger Jeeves again.
Then let's be on our way.
Yeah.
Yeah, here in the
Alright.
graveyard, inspecting these graves, the mist seems to grow thicker and thicker the longer you wait and inspect this grave.
Alright, we're gonna hustle.
All right, let's be on our way then.
All right, as you get in the cart and head off, you can feel something behind you. You almost feel too terrified to even look back. The horse begins running faster and faster, without you even having to tell it to. It's now bolting at full speed away from the graveyard.
Well, that's good.
Does anyone want to look back?
Yeah, Elias looks back.
I'm bored.
All you see in the dark mist behind you is the dark mist. You can't perceive anything. However, you feel there's definitely something back there.
And Elias could sense something within 60 feet of them if it was undead.
Can you sense good or evil with that?
I don't think it's alignments. I think it's just the presence of undead.
Yeah, I think that's actually a spell. Sense good and evil.
Yeah. He doesn't have that. I could have chose it, but I didn't.
Nope. You don't detect anything with your powers, just with your own human natural ability to, I don't know, to survive.
Whatever it is, it spooked the horse quite mightily.
Yeah, you yourself feel pretty shaken as you stare into the black mist, to the darkness behind you. All right, so are you to continue on to Valaki, or do you want to do something
Yes.
else? All right. So onward you race until you pass once more through the gates. The gates of the giant statues that brandish swords on either side of the giant gate. You know that up to the right is Castle Ravenloft itself. Then you pass the place where you had seen the windmill, where you rescued those two children.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Pie Lady.
Then to the
Yep.
right, you know, is like Zarovich before you reach the gates of Valaki. And it being nighttime, you recall that Valaki is not used to opening its gates for people at night. They're strictly forbidden by their former commander to open the gates and accept people during this hour. However, you've built up quite the rapport here, and the guard know you by sight. Still, though, to make sure that it's not some kind of trap, they stop you and ask you, "What brings you here so late?"
We don't mean to be traveling so late, but we saw little time in wasting our sleep and waiting for morning.
Well, I would normally ask the burgomaster if someone was allowed in at this hour, but he's a bit indisposed at the moment with all that's going on, so I suppose I'll let you in. I know that he would want you here. Please.
If it makes you feel better, assign someone to keep an eye on us.
I don't think that will be necessary. So, quickly, come in. And 2 guards begin opening the gate to let you in.
Thank you for your kindness.
And as they're doing that, Elias checks behind them the best he can to make sure nothing else is coming upon them while they're entering.
You don't sense anything that you can see, but you do have an ominous feeling there's something out there.
Okay.
Alright, welcome back to the village of Fulaki.
Well, fellows, I suppose we should wait out the rest of the night before everyone to come. Bless you, yeah.
Thank you.
It's a bit late to bother anyone right now, so I suppose we should wait till morning.
One of the guards hears this and he says, actually, this is a good time for you to visit the Burgomaster. Has an event going on this evening. Should last all night. Unless you wish to sleep, you may wish to go.
Would you happen to know if Blinsky would be there?
If it is somebody of importance, they should be there. Everyone important in town will be there.
Okay. Thank you.
Is there anything further you can tell us of this event?
Well, yes, Burgomaster has become fond of throwing balls lately. This should be quite the night, the evening. He's invited everyone.
I thought he had gotten away from doing that so much.
Oh, it's not a festival. This is simply a aristocratic ball.
Okay. See.
If you have no costumes, I'm sure they can provide you with something upon entry. Shall I escort
Thank you for all of your assistance. We would appreciate an escort.
The guard looks at the other 2 that are manning the gate. Says, I'll send someone to replace me in a moment, but keep an eye out. Don't know if anyone was following these late night visitors.
I don't think an escort would be necessary.
Very well then. I can keep my post.
I had a feeling something was out there. I can't describe what it was, but I think you should best watch the gate.
There's always something out there, not just the wolves.
Indeed.
And of course, this is damn Vistani, always lurking on the outskirts of our village.
Huh. Where's the ball being held? At the mansion of the Burgomaster?
Indeed.
All right. Yes, we know the way.
All right. So is that your destination?
Yeah. Blinsky would be closed at this time, I'm sure, right?
Shops here, yeah, they generally close at night, unless it's an inn.
Right. Well, I guess we'll go on to the mansion then and see what the ball is all about.
All right. It's been a while since you have seen the Burgomaster, and when you arrive, of course, he's 1 dog less than this picture here.
Mm-hmm.
And his face is completely obscured, as is his wife's. However, you know it's him simply by being familiar with the way he talks and his mannerisms. His face is covered with a very elaborate porcelain mask. It has an elongated nose. It looks like some sort of goblin. And his wife has a more beautiful mask. It is also porcelain, but it's painted to have a motif of like feathers, and it looks more holy, something that perhaps her brother would approve of, being a priest and all. But they greet you at the door. They're like, "Oh, it's such an unexpected pleasure. Where's Jack? Come in, come in." And he looks at one of his servants and he says, "Get them masks. They need to fit in here. These are guests of honor." And he's looking at you all, asking where Jack's at.
I'm afraid Jack couldn't join us this evening.
Yes, he is staying elsewhere. He may come back eventually, but he's not with us right now.
Very good. All is well then. All is well. And when his servant brings you a open box that's quite large, and in it there's an assortment of masquerade ball masks, and he obviously wants you to choose one. So I'll let you to describe the one that you choose to wear.
Elias will shake his head disapprovingly at first and roll his eyes a bit, but not to where he can be seen. But he tries to fish out one similar to the one that the Burgomaster's wife is wearing.
Okay. So an angelic motif. You find a mask and don the mask.
As he's doing that, Elias's eyes are darting around to see if he could find anyone with strikingly red hair that he may recognize.
Roll a perception check.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna plunge my hand into the box and pull out whatever I can grab, and it seems to be like a red dragon kind of head.
Oh God!
So I stick it on.
All right, you find this red mask that is shaped like a dragon, and its tongue is licking out like flame. You strap it to your face and you turn to Elias.
What you think, Elias?
Elias slaps the back of Jesus' head. You idiot.
My, I think that's the first time I've ever seen you lose your temper, Elias.
Well, it wasn't like a hard hit or anything.
Yeah, a friendly slap.
Elias, you rolled really well for perception. You can see that people are mingling in the halls. They're walking from room to room, all of them very in rich attire, not adventuring gear like you guys are, but you feel like you fit in well enough with these masks on. You don't see anyone with striking red hair, though.
Well, Elias keeps his eye out for the rest of the night while they're there for that.
I suppose I could pop you guys down here.
You need to get Alex a mask. Jeeves, take that thing off. Come on.
Fits pretty well. Let me see what else there is.
All right.
Alexandra reached into the box and she pulled out a mask that looked like it was cracked porcelain all glued back together. Looks almost very much like a doll.
Oh, nice. Very good. Excellent mask. Yes, so the Burgomaster, once he sees that everyone has a mask, he looks down at your little accomplice here and says, "How intriguing. Is this some sort of clockwork?"
It is indeed. We were hoping to find Blinsky. Did he have the honor of arriving at the ball tonight as well?
Oh yes, of course Blinsky is here. He will be delighted to see such an interesting toy. And Mr. Piddlewick does a spin on his heel, claps, and then bows. And of course the Burgomaster and his wife applaud and say, "That's just amazing."
Yes, I've grown quite fond of him.
Well, please feel free to mingle. You're my guests of honor. It's such a pleasure to have you here this night. A little late and unexpected, but we should be at this for a few more hours.
If you don't mind, sir, how is the wedding progressing between your son and the Lady Watcher's daughter?
All the plans are made, yes. It should only be a few more days before we seal the deal.
Where might we find Stella now?
Oh, Stella, that weird little girl. She's around here somewhere. She seems to have made a new friend.
A new friend, you say? Can you describe this friend?
Oh, she's very, very mysterious, but extremely beautiful. I can't see her face behind her mask tonight, but she seems to have quite the presence. Lovely red hair.
I thought as much. I may know the woman.
Oh, you'll have to introduce me more formally.
I may not have the chance, but perhaps.
Alexander's already in looking out and trying to find her.
Oh, okay, so you're going from room to room already?
Yeah.
All right.
Wasting no time.
Pidwick will stick with you. He's on your heels, keeping up. Sure. So you look in the dining room. There's all sorts of people in there. Some people eating cake. A few of these people you of course can't recognize because they're all masked, but you can tell that these are the more regulars. That these are the ones that the lady of the house likes to keep. Even though they're poorer peasants, they are someone that she invites over often. So you think you may recognize a few of these women here, even with their masks on.
It's the same cake eaters from before that Elias, laid the his knowledge on. Yeah.
Yeah, and still, just as before, they're gorging themselves with food. It looks like they're just here to enjoy a better meal than they could possibly ever have outside of this mansion.
Right.
Yeah, so you see some people lifting their masks and cramming forkfuls of pies and things into their mouth. However, there's no one in there of any real interest. However, when you enter the den, this is where you recall one of the burgomaster's dogs being dispatched. In this room, you find Blinsky. Blinsky is talking with several other aristocratic-type people, and he seems to be boring them, talking about his odd toys. However, when you enter the room with Mr. Pidwick, the second, he just jaw drops and stops talking to whoever he was talking to and comes over.
Elias, keep looking. Find Stella. Keep her safe.
Okay, I will.
All right, well,
Hello again, Blinsky.
Blinsky says, "Whoa, this is marvelous. I don't have words. I've never seen anything like it." And he comes over to it, and his chubby form gets down on one knee, and he says, "What is this little man? It's so amazing." And Pidwick loves the attention. He does a cartwheel and begins. He pulls little balls out of his pouch in the back and starts juggling. Not those little balls, you pervert.
Come on, Mark.
Anyways, so the Clockwork Man begins to demonstrate his skills, and Blinsky is elated. He says, "I can't wait to get you back to my shop and see how you work. In fact, I don't see any reason to waste time here this night. I've made all the appearance I need. I can take him now."
If it's all the same, I will accompany you, Blinsky. I did promise him that he would not be disassembled or harmed in any way. I know you would never dare, but just in case as a precaution.
Well, harm? It's just a toy. It cannot be harmed. If I take it apart, I promise I will put it back together very good.
I don't know that it would want to be taken apart.
Pidwick looks at you and shakes his head no real slowly.
I see no harm in letting you study him, Blinsky, but please do not disassemble him.
But what about the watch that you wanted me to make? I need to see how he works on the inside.
Go ahead.
If he's familiar with his own internal workings, perhaps he can help you study.
Blinsky just scratches his head and he says, well, if I can convince him to let me tinker around on him, I won't do anything he says no.
Just don't tinker with his balls.
Jesus Christ.
So Jack's not here, so I have to improvise.
Where is where's Jeeves? What is he doing?
I'm loitering.
Okay.
Looking for things to lift.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Jeeves.
Peddlewick, do you want me to stay with you?
He nods his head yes.
Then I'm sorry, Blinsky, but I've made up my mind. I will stay with him. I made a promise.
Okay, well, would you like to come to my shop now?
If you don't mind giving us a few moments, we're trying to find Stella. Would you happen to know where she might be?
The Watcher girl. No, I don't think I've seen her tonight. She does not like to socialize.
I see. The Burgomaster claims that she made a new friend.
That is all very good. I just would like to take your little friend here and go to my shop. Shall we?
Once we find Stella, yes.
She reaches out a hand for Peddlewick.
Oh, you want to let him stay here until you're ready to go.
Are you alright if I have a look around, Peddlewick?
And Piddwick nods, and he just kind of shrugs a little.
I'll be back, alright?
He gives you a thumbs up.
She caresses his little face and tips his chin up.
Alrighty. You notice that most of the patterns on his face are drawn on with what looks to be soot, like out of a fireplace or something. And when you smooth out his face a little, he stops looking quite like a jack-o'-lantern so much, and maybe more like when he was first made.
With that, Alex will help the boys continue to look around for Stella.
Okay. As you exit the door, you can see Pidwick walk towards the center of the room and start performing for everyone. And with all that behind you, where does everyone want to search? I'm going to let Elias take as much time as you did there with Blinsky.
So I can't see the rest of the house right now.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, there we go. So let's see. Elias will look in here.
Sure. This room looks like the kitchen where all of the stuff was prepared. There's not really any guests here, but there's several servants very busy taking back and refilling glasses and taking dirty plates and things.
Okay. I believe where I really want to get to is upstairs, where like the resting quarters are, because I think that's where Stella would be if she's here.
Sure, there's stairs in this room and elsewhere in the house. But moving through the kitchen, you get a few curious looks of cooks and stuff, thinking that you don't really belong there. But since you have a mask on, you're obviously a guest, and they let you go up.
Okay.
On the second floor, I'll move you over there. This staircase climbs 20 feet to a beautifully appointed gallery that continues toward the west, running most of the length of the mansion. Framed landscape paintings line the walls, and red silk drapes cover 10-foot tall arched windows of leaded glass.
Jeeves, how did it suddenly go so dark?
I don't know. Must be the mask. Hey, yeah, that mirror. I wonder if I can do anything to that mirror now.
Is there anyone on this floor?
Yes, you hear plenty of people around. No one in the immediate hallway, though.
Elias will call out for Stella to see if she hears him, but he'll start going room to room and see if any of the doors are open.
Sure. That's a bathroom, and it's currently locked.
Okay. This one?
That is where you saw that bridal gown. And indeed, there are a few women in there talking. You immediately notice that one of these women has red hair, and on the other side of her is someone shorter you can't really see. But you think you may have found them on sheer luck.
Well, it makes sense they would be where the dress was. Elias walks in and he calls out her name as he approaches the one that's shorter than the red-haired one. Stella, is that you?
Peeking around the red-haired woman is a little porcelain cat face mask, and she steps into full view, and she doesn't really reply. She just stares at you from behind her mask. Slowly, Carmilla turns around. Ah, yes. Didn't think I'd be seeing you at this party. Have you come to spoil my fun?
I've come to speak with an acquaintance. I have no further business with you right now. Could I speak with Stella a moment? And you remember me, young girl? We met some time ago.
Oh, yes. How could I forget?
I'd like to speak with you a moment outside, if I could.
Anything you wish to say to me, you can say to my friend. Sensing the tone in the room, the rest of the women leave this room and pass by you into the hallway. And now it's just you, Carmilla, and Stella.
Can I roll persuasion on separating them?
Sure, what would you like to say?
Stella, I really have something privately to discuss, and I don't think your friend would appreciate hearing it.
Oh, well, isn't that rude? And then roll persuasion. Oh, yeah. 1.
Oh.
Wow.
Perhaps you would enjoy speaking more with Alexandra. You remember my companion.
Well, to be quite honest, I am in good company already. If you have something to say, you may say it. Especially if it's important.
It is quite important. I have reason to believe that you are in severe danger.
And Carmilla tilts her head. Her mask is one that looks pretty plain, except it has one red tear next to one of the eyes. And from behind the mask, you can see her eyes narrow.
Open mouth, insert foot.
You may have heard the name Madame Eva, the fortune teller in the Circle encampment. She has been quite perceptive and told us all manner of true fortunes, all of which have come true. And she warned us that something may befall you here soon if things are allowed to continue.
Well, I don't believe my father-in-law would appreciate you consorting with dirty Vistani.
I'm sure you're wise enough to know, young lady, that no one is dirty just from where they're from or what they do. They are good people, I assure you.
Yes, they are good people, but my soon-to-be father-in-law, thanks to my thanks to my upcoming wedding, you're helping to resign me to the fate of these people in this family.
Yes, we're both aware that your father-in-law is quite the idiot, but it is for the well-being of the town and of the whole realm. And I think in the long run it would have been a good thing to do, but apparently some plot will befall you if we allow things to continue as they are. And I can say no more for right now.
Carmilla interjects and says, "What of the well-being of my young and beautiful friend here? Have you not considered her well-being over that of this town?"
Oh, perhaps not. What of her well-being do you speak?
Well, my lovely little friend here deserves more than just to be used politically in this miserable town full of people who are mostly only concerned for themselves.
And what would you do with her then?
Well, you speak of longevity for the betterment of the city, and I think you know nothing of longevity, not like I do. She'll be better off with me.
What are you planning to turn her into?
Bleed her dry.
Turn her into? You people turn yourselves into the monsters you are. I merely just watch and enjoy. I think it's time for me to save her from such a fate.
Are you aware this poor girl was under a terrible spell where she believed she was a cat for years? I don't think she would be well suited to befall some other whatever you have in mind for her.
What I have in mind for her is to simply take her away from here and let her be her own person. Which is more than what you and your friends have done.
How would you accomplish this? In the wilderness?
Yes. I have befriended the witch there. No harm will come to Stella, not under my care. She and I could be happy together, enjoy ourselves in our company as much as we like. If that's her will, and she decides to do it, it will be her making a decision instead of someone else for her for the first time in her life.
Stella, you understand the evil of the darkness outside and the forces that conspire to devour everything.
I understand darkness just fine. I've dealt with it my entire life. There's nothing here for me. Nothing but sorrow and servitude.
Yes, you are in quite a tough position. I know we forced this on you, and things could have been much better for you. It was such an unfair life that was placed on your lap.
Then make it up to me.
I can't allow a demon to take you. You know I'm a priest.
No one else knows that Carmilla wishes to take me out of here. Are you going to stand in our way?
I have many reasons to stand in the way of Carmilla, though I'd rather not do it right now.
You're standing in my way. This is a decision I want to make. You're going to have me marry that Victor kid? He's terrible. He's horrible. He's only interested in his magical experiments. He's going to be no better than his father, and you know it. You want me to share a bed with him for the rest of my life? I have no interest.
Girl, I'm worried that your interests will no longer be your own once you lose your will to even make your own decisions. This person you're with, I think, has some nefarious use for you beyond wanting you to be happy, and I think that should be obvious.
All right. I think that's about as equivalent, if not more, than what Alexander had with Blitzky. Mr. Jeeves, what are you doing?
Let's see.
Stealing cake.
It's gotta be something better than cake.
Stealing cake and finding a wife.
What's wrong with cake? Cake is good.
What about the silverware you used to eat the cake with?
Yeah,
Doesn't he have enough of that?
yeah. I still got candelabras to sell.
Are there any like lighted, like shining candelabras? Because Elias likes those.
Yeah, he likes to rip them off of ceilings and beat people with them.
Oh yeah, I
I
forgot
thought that
about
was a
that.
good idea.
Let's see. I gotta go explore upstairs as well.
I might need you up there.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Jeeves. There are. Let's see. You find yourselves at the top of a stairwell, and this staircase climbs 20 feet to a beautifully appointed gallery that continues towards the west, running almost the length of the mansion. Framed landscape paintings line the walls, and red silk drapes cover a 10-foot tall arched window of leaded glass.
Yeah, so I've been in pretty much most of the rooms, but I'm still curious about the mirror because I didn't get much time to play with it last time.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that thing.
Well, you remember that the mirror was in the place where you saw the bridal gown.
Right.
So, making your way there, you pass a few women in the halls that seem to have just been leaving somewhere. You hear.
Jeeves, do you remember the room that the bridal gown was in?
The what was in?
The room he's talking about that the bridal gown was in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sure. So, Elias, you are met by Mr. Jeeves soon. He interjects just as you were strongly against Carmilla taking Stella away from here. But yeah, Mr. Jeeves, you open the door to see Elias on the other side, talking with what you assume to be Stella, inappropriately in a cat mask, and a red-haired woman behind a mask with a red tear.
Ah, nice. I didn't expect to see you here.
Oh yes, Mr. Jeeves. I was just meeting Stella and this woman who burned alive several people in front of me.
Oh, come now.
No!
How rude to assume that I would do something such as this to these people. Are you not sure that it was not them who began burning people? I was simply watching the spectacle of how horrible you humans can treat each other.
No, I'm quite sure I was right the first time.
Good
Stella.
God, you need to learn some tact, man.
Yeah, my mask didn't like drop open a little bit.
Mr. Jeeves, you remember the mirrors in the corner of this room?
I do. I see it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Elias
But-
will allow Jeeves to enter the room if he wants to.
No. This has got my attention now, so I'll stay here and help you out.
I mean, Elias is not making a move to attack. He's just got his arms crossed and kind of leaning against the doorway. He's not actively engaged like he's ready to fight.
Sure. Well, Mr. Jeeves, you're not sure if it's the angle of the mirror or what, but it's kind of odd because Carmilla is not casting a reflection in the mirror.
Hold down. Let's see. I'm pretty sure Elias knows what she is.
Oh yeah, he's very much aware.
Now, these are some pretty strong allegations, Carmilla says.
You know,
What
I'm gonna
makes
go
you
get
so sure that I burn people alive?
I'm gonna go get my drinks, so stay right here. I'll be right back. And I'm gonna run downstairs and get paid for.
Okay.
Who?
Alex.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex!
Well,
What? What is it, man?
We have a vampire upstairs.
Do we now?
We do. Come quick. We have it cornered.
Carmilla continues to talk to Elias as Mr. Jeeves runs away to get his drinks.
and she asked how I could make these allegations, and Elias will reply. He'll say, well, it so happens I have very vivid dreams of that night where I rescued a young girl from the fires of this event that happened. the young witch girl. I recall the bodies burning and the smell of it that reminded me of my own um, fate of my father dying similarly before me. It may have been even the same sect, and you may have even led them to burn those people alive as well. But long story short, there's dreams, and I see you frequently in them. And I also hear tales from my brothers who were there that describe a red-haired woman atop a skull. And I have seen you as such earlier in Barovia. I'm sure you remember our meeting.
Oh, absolutely. I remember our second meeting, apparently. I'm having a bit of problems recalling exactly what you were saying about witches and burning. One moment, and she thinks for a minute, and she says, "Oh, yes, I remember. I remember watching people who claim themselves to be an order of God that were burning witches at the stake for simply exploring the world beyond what they could understand."
The Order of the Dragon, was it?
Ah, that does sound familiar. Yes, I believe that was it. The Order of the Dragon burned those people.
And I believe you have some association with them, as well as some other powerful vampire in this land.
Why would you assume I have an association with this order of so-called God?
I don't think they're of God at all.
Well, I don't think they are either. Why associate me with them?
Because I believe your influence runs deep in their hearts, and they would not, of human influence, do such a thing.
Ah, you put too much faith in humanity. Of course they did this themselves. They do so for all sorts of nonsensical human reasons. Is it so terrible that I don't interject and find it amusing that people can be so terrible and horrible to each other, and yet have the gall to call me a monster?
You're painting yourself innocent, then.
Well, I must admit that I did nothing to save these people. In
Why
fact,
were you...
it's quite entertaining to watch people do these things. When you've been around as long as I have, what does it matter?
There's some sort of magical wall barring my entry from upstairs.
Okay, yes, you hear the footsteps of Jeeves and Alexander returning. And I think that'd be a good place to pick up next week.
Oh,
Curse of the Moon is calling.
Yes, and it's 10 o'clock, so...
Seriously?
Hey, put in my time. I got games to play. No, I don't even know if my wife will really even let me play much later. But yeah, it will be interesting next week to see how Alexandra, who can see the good in monsters, clash with Elias's past horrific events of the Order of the Dragon burning witches and the image of Carmilla laughing in the background as people burned alive, screaming to their tortured deaths.
Yeah, it's a good conversation that she's having with him. Like, it's even making me in character as Elias question what he thought he knew.
Plus,
You-
Stella's a factor here too.
Yeah, that's interesting as well.
Kind of disappointed in Mr. Jeeves, though.
why? What?
Did you not listen to the cardering at all?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why? What did I miss?
I don't know. I can't just push it all through, you know.
Dang it. Okay.
But we record it, so you'll
Yeah,
be able
I'm gonna
to
go back.
go back and
I
listen to
love
that
it.
point. All right. Well, until next week, everyone go and enjoy Bloodstained Ritual of the Night, Curse of the Moon. Get some 8-bit action going on.
Yes, enjoy.
And we will see you next week.
Yeah.